Greetings. Rabbi Box back with Parashat Shavua. This week we are in Parashat Vayikra. We are beginning the book of Leviticus. So Parashat Vayikra is Leviticus 1, chapter 1, verse 1 through chapter 5, 26. And the outline for this parsha is as follows. So there's the first section, which are procedures for three types of basic offerings: the burnt offering, the olah, the meal offering, the mincha, and the well being offering, the shlamim. And then the second section is procedures for offerings to restore order. We have the purgation offering, the chatat, an introduction, when the priest incurs guilt, when the congregation incurs guilt, when a leader incurs guilt, when anyone else incurs guilt, specific cases that require offerings, and then reparation offering of asham. And the Torah portion really begins with, it says, Vayikra el Moshe vayedaber Adonai elav me'ohel moed lemor. Adonai called to Moses and spoke to him from the tent of meeting, telling him the following: Tell the Israelite people, when you offer when you present an offering of cattle to Adonai, you shall choose your offering from the herd or from the flock. If your offering is a burnt offering, and there's all these instructions on the olah, how you are to present the burnt offering, what you are to do, what kind of offering the burnt offering should be. If it's from the herd, it should be a male without blemish. Bulls shall be slaughtered. And what to do with the individual parts of the animal that's being sacrificed, and how you're supposed to turn everything into smoke. Basically, you burn everything to a crisp, if you will. We have the meal offering, the mincha. This is of choice flour with oil poured on it, with frankincense on it, and this is presented to Aaron's sons because, of course, the priests are the only ones that are allowed to actually give the offerings or make the offerings upon the altar. People bring their offering to the priest, and the priest then in turn the offering to the altar to God. And it talks about all the different ways of presenting that meal offering, how it's supposed to be baked, if it's supposed to be first fruits, and then we get into the offering of the sacrifice of well-being, and this is again the shlamim. It's the sacrifice of well-being. It resembles the burnt offering, but with one main difference: only a portion of it turns into smoke. The largest part of the sacrifice is distributed between the priests and the offerers, thus providing food for the Israelites. So, and again, there are all the different categories and types of ways of offering this shlamim. What kind of, whether it comes from the herd or the flock or so on and so forth. And if it comes from the herd, it has to be this. And if it comes from the flock, it has to be this. Very specific instructions. So then we get to Leviticus 4, excuse me, and we begin talking about guilt. What happens if a person unwittingly incurs guilt in regards to one of the commandments? If they accidentally do not follow a commandment and they make a mistake. If it's the appointed priest, this is what happens. If it's a leader of the people, this is what happens. And if it's a quote unquote a normal person, someone who is not in leadership, a man on the street, if you will, or person on the street, if you will, walking down the street, so on and so forth, then the specifics of how that person is supposed to be held responsible as well. And again, it could, all the different levels of leadership, and all the way down to your quote ordinary man on the street. And then we get to the last part of the Torah portion, and this is important because it's talking about when a person sins and commits a trespass against Adonai by dealing deceitfully with another in the matter of a deposit or a pledge, or through robbery, or by defrauding another, or by finding something lost and lying about it. If one swears falsely regarding any one of the various things that someone may do and sin thereby, When one has thus sinned, and realizing guilt would restore either that which was gotten through robbery or fraud, or the entrusted deposit, or the lost thing that was found, or anything else about which one swore falsely, that person shall repay the principal amount and add a fifth to it. One shall pay it to its owner upon realizing guilt. Then that person shall bring to the priest as a penalty to God a ram without blemish from the flock, or the equivalent, as a reparation offering. The priest shall make expiation before Adonai on behalf of for that person, who shall be forgiven for whatever was done to draw blame. So therefore, if you make a mistake, if you are guilty of something, you absolutely have to make amends against or to the person that you sinned, to the person you sinned against. And then you have to turn around and make expiation to God as well. A lot of important things in here, but basically what we're talking about is who takes on the responsibility of guilt in the community. And when that guilt occurs, these are the different kinds of sacrifices one must provide in order to make reparations. I wish you an early Shabbat Shalom.